All right, now to adding sheets to our project file here. And Revit, like with a lot of other things, comes with a library of predefined title blocks and sheet sizes. And so the one that's by default in there may be the size you want, it may not be the size you want, or you may want a custom title block. Just like last week, you created a custom title block in 1127. Well, we want to use that in the 1129 class. And I just off the top of my head right now, I don't remember if the sheet sizes are the same or if you'll need to modify the sheet size for 1129. Anyway, so to add sheets, a couple of different ways. You can go here to the View tab, over here to Sheet, and you pick a sheet size. Okay, and so normal, unless your template has them added in, E1 is the normal size, and if you need others, say I've got a D size loaded in here, you just go load, and if it doesn't go right to your title blocks, it's just like it's at the very bottom of your library title blocks, and then you choose which size that you need. Now I'll pull in a C size just so you can watch as we're doing it here. All right, but we want to go with, we're just going to go ahead and use the E1s, okay? So I'll tell it okay. And there it is. All right, and so here's a sheet. And if you'll notice, it named it A102 because while I had the video paused, I added a sheet to check something, and it called it A101. The first one comes in as A101. So what you want to do is we bring it in, and we're going to make some changes here. This particular one, I want to rename it. If I come over here in my browser, expand sheets, I can click on it here and right click and go rename. I want to call this one A100 and name it ground floor. All right, so you can see how that made a change there. These other things, the project, they're all these other things are parameters that you deal with in your manage project information. Where'd you go? Here we go. And the ones that author, sometimes it's kind of weird. Sometimes the author one will populate, sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of, okay. Issue date, that is going to be, it's not the date that you're working on the drawings. It's the date the drawings are issued from the architect, as these drawings are as complete as we can get them at this time. Here's the project for the owner to approve or the contractor to start building on. So, and I think in most of your classes, I give you a date that's kind of like at the end of the semester for you to put in for the issue date. But I'm going to go ahead and put one in there. Project status, that's going to be dealt with, you know, in the company you work for. The owner, of course, the owner's name would go here. I'm trying to think of a name right here. I don't know, you know, Milford, I don't know, whatever. And of course, you know, address, project name, office 23. If, you know, project number is going to be something in-house. And you notice all those things populate there for you. Okay, like I said, for some reason, author doesn't want to populate. It's kind of weird. But if you come over here But and one of the reasons is different people may work on different drawings. Okay, and if you come over here and put it in, put your name in, well, the next sheet you load, it'll be kind of over there and you can select it. All right, so that kind of got my my title block and all that kind of stuff pulled in. Now to put a view on a sheet, you go to a couple of different ways. You can either come here and you can go view, view, and then scroll down and find all of them that you might want and then click it and add that view to the sheet. The easiest way is to come over here to the right and grab your drawing or your view and drag it in here and place it. All right. Now, this creates a viewport. And so when you place it on the drawing, you've got two different things here. You've got a viewport and you've got the view title across the bottom here. So the viewport is based on what we just did in the last video where I changed the crop region. So the viewport itself is based on, the size of it's based on the crop region of your view. But if I select that viewport, I can change the scale of it here. And you notice it fits in my drawing, but boy, it is tight. Now what happened, if I come back over here and open that view, you see it changed it over here. So it changed the scale of that view. And because I've got dependent views, their scale has been changed also. Okay. So let me go back to here. You know, we'll be working through with things and giving you scales. I need you to be aware of those kinds of things, okay? When it comes with the viewports here, let's see, we can change, if I double click the viewport, you notice that my title block got grayed out. And so now, just like in AutoCAD, I'm in a viewport working in model space. And so it's just like I'm working on my model. And so I can come back and I can double click outside, or I could right click my mouse and go deactivate. And now, now I'm back into what in AutoCAD would be called paper space. Okay, so if I just, let me press escape to get out. So if I just click the viewport once, I can move it. You know, I can't resize it, but I can move the viewport by just clicking it once. Notice my view title line has handles at both ends. So when I select a viewport and select it once, it activates the title line, and I can change the length of it. You know, that one is the number of views on this sheet. If I want to move the viewport line, I just click the view title line once to select it, and then I can move it. Okay, let's see, views. Okay, the title of, and okay, so let's look down here. Let's pull this up inside of our border. Okay, and so ground floor is what it's called over here in my plan. If I want it called something else on the actual sheet, so let me select my viewport, and over here in my properties, let's scroll down to identity data, and we got some options here. So view name is what the view is called. If I change it here, it changes it everywhere over in my project browser. But if I go title on sheet, Now I can make a change. I'm going to call it ground floor plan. And you see it changed the view of it underneath the sheet there. And that's the only place that it changed it. All right, so I'm going to resize that line because I don't want it going through there. Okay, so now let's add a couple more sheets. So I can come down here to sheets and I can right click and go new sheet. Let's stick with same size. And let's, just to show you what happens with the other stuff. So let's rename this one to A100. I'm going to say L for left. Ground floor left. And L probably not an efficient name for that. Okay, and so that got my left one. And so let's add another sheet for the right one. Of course, yeah, I'll stick with my constant and call it right. Okay. And so you noticed over here in my browser, it filled in the boxes with blue marks. That means that tells me that view has been placed on a sheet. Okay, now why is my, all right, and so here we can see the name of this view is on sheet A100L. This view is on a sheet A100R. And those are probably not showing up because I've got my view range in so tight. So if I select that, when it comes to the crops on viewports, the dash one around the outside is the annotation crop. And there it's coming up. So any text that you put in a model has to be within that annotation crop. And so now we can see that the view for A100R showed up. If I come to this one and pull that annotation crop region out to the left, now that one shows up. Okay, now let's add a couple more. Let's add a first floor sheet. Let's add another sheet and call it A101. I'm just going to call it first floor. And we'll drop our level 1 view in here. And I'm going to leave that at 1/8 inch scale. I'm just not going to go through and check. Oh, well, while we're here, let's look at this. So drawn by, author, I can get the pull down, and there was my name from where I fixed it previously. But it's not on every sheet. It's just on the ones where I make that change. Okay, and so here's my first floor sheet. There's it picking up that split line. So to fix that, let's go back to our, let's see, can I open it here? Yeah. So I'm going to change that to level. Oh, no, I don't want the bottom constraint. I want the top constraint. Sorry. So I need to drop it down. I don't know. Okay, so that took it out of this view. It's still in this view. Okay, because I'm not going to split this building up. All right. Did I add that to my drawing? Yes, I did. Okay. So now if I'm going to have multiple drawings, multiple views on a sheet, probably the best way, let's do some elevation. So let's add a new sheet. And, wherever you work, they have a system for numbering drawings. There's one described in the textbook, and it can get rather complex. But your company will have a system. So let's put some elevations on here. So let's pull in our south elevation because it's the front. Okay. And I don't know, let's pull in our north elevation. What's the other ones look like? Yeah, they're kind of big to fit on one sheet. So we'll just go with these two. And you can see it goes way outside the building. So if we activate that view and then turn on show our crop region, we can adjust our crop. Right? And we could do the same for that. But now when you drop these things in here, you want to line them up so that things are looking nice, okay? And so the way to do that is on your sheet here, we go to grid guide, or guide grid, sorry. And if you've created one already, it'll be there. If not, then you have to create one. So we'll go with guide grid 1 and say, okay. And then you see it puts a grid over your whole thing there. Well, that doesn't help much. So let's select it and drag the handles in to the just barely inside of the title block area, the border. Because if you put it actually on one of the lines of the title block, it makes it difficult to select it should you want to make some changes. Okay, and so here's our grid. So let's select it again, and let's change this to a 2-inch spacing. And you can give it another name here if you want to have a name, if you need multiple different types, whatever, because it can be applied to every drawing sheet you have now. Okay, and so now we've got a guide that we can use to line our buildings up with. And the grid does not print, in case you're curious. So I'm going to select this one and bring it over. And I'm looking to line up like the edge of, one of my guidelines here. So let's line up. And arrow key is probably easier. Okay. And if you had, the same way, if you need to move them vertically, you can space them. Just use it as a guide to help you out there. And then we can If we're done with it, then we come over here and we can go back to none and hide it. All right. You know, in this one, that box you see around the border, that's the crop region. So I'll just go back in, double click to activate it, come down here and hide crop region, and then double click outside there to place it. Okay, so let's see, we've done guides and spacings, aligning viewports, titles. Okay, so next we've got some reference views. Let me pause this video and then we'll come back to start another one.